Damian Lillard, he already has his locker ready in Portland. He agreed to a 3-year, $42 million contract to return to the Blazers after being waived by the Bucks earlier this month. The 9-time All-Star, he will likely miss the entire upcoming season, recovering from an Achilles injury, but he returns to the team that drafted him in 2012. And I love that they already had the locker room ready for his return. Our senior insider, Charania, is here with more. Shams, there were a lot of teams interested in Damian Lillard. Beyond sort of the heartfelt story, who else was in the mix, and why did he ultimately choose to go back to Portland?
Malika, over a dozen teams made minimum and mid-level exception offers to Damian Lillard. Two teams in particular, I'm told, that Damian Lillard really considered, and that's the Boston Celtics and the Minnesota Timberwolves. He held calls with both teams at different points. But to be in Portland, back home with his 3 young kids, that was by far the most important factor, I was told, in his return to the Trailblazers. And he was going to spend the year rehabbing in Portland anyways from that Achilles tear. But to return to Portland, the franchise that he obviously is an icon in, that meant a lot to him. He held multiple meetings with general manager Joe Cronin and head coach Chauncey Billups at his house in the last few weeks. So he goes back 3 years, $42 million. He's one of 2 players, along with LeBron James, to have a no-trade clause right now in the NBA. So a return to Portland made sense for him on a lot of different levels. And this next season, Malika, he's going to be earning $70 million between his Bucks salary and his Blazers salary. In 2 years before his player option in 2027, he has a guaranteed $141 million over the next 2 years.
I mean, I know that he will be sitting out likely all year, but making $70 million to do that isn't so bad if you want to look at the glass half full here. The recovery process, though, is going to be long. What are his expectations, Shams, for when he might return to the court?
Malika, Damian Lillard will be using the entire 2025-26 season to rehab that Achilles tear and then make his return, his reunion in Portland in that arena in 2026-2027. And then he has that opt-out in the summer of 2027. The mindset of Damian Lillard right now is that summer he will be going into free agency, potentially in line for another big deal. But now he's in Portland. He's going to be there rehabbing. He's going to be there, a big part of the community, big part of the roster, a leader for that young team. You think about what the Blazers have done this offseason, not only in the draft with Yang Hansen, but also getting Drew Holiday, a veteran all-star caliber player. Then you get now Damian Lillard back. So they're making moves to retool this roster to try to be more competitive in the next couple of years. Chauncey Billups finished last season 22-18. They had a top 5 defense as well in the second half of the season.
And you just think, Shams, the first time back in Moda Center when they say over the PA system and wearing the letter O, it's Damian Lillard. That place is going to go absolutely nuts. Thank you so much for your reporting, Shams. We'll see you back here in just a little bit. Udonis Haslem, Bobby Marks, Iman Shumpert joining me now. I'm going to start with you here, UD. Your first reaction when you saw that Damian Lillard is going back to Portland?
Excitement, excited. I'm happy for Dame. I understand who Dame is as a person. I understand the things that are important to Dame is his love for his family and his loyalty to the city of Portland. He loves the city of Portland. He never really wanted to leave, but he wanted to put himself in a position where he can fight and contend for a championship. And his love for his family is very important for him. I look at that situation in Portland and I say, yes, he's not going to play the year that's coming up, but he has the opportunity to mentor some great young players. He has the opportunity to be next to Chauncey Billups, who's a champion. Dame is obviously a Hall of Famer. They just brought in James Posey, who's a champion. Drew Holiday's a champion. So when you look at Scoot Henderson, when you look at Sharp, when you look at Klingon, when you look at all these young guys, Yang Hansen, the guy who they got from China, when you look at all these young guys, this is really an opportunity for these young guys to really learn from some of the best guys that have played the game of basketball.
Without a doubt, I got to second him there. Like, having Damian Lillard in a role now where he doesn't have to produce 40 points. It's just going to be a year for him to talk to guys, make sure guys are in the right position, make sure guys are working out to make themselves better in their own right. Then when he joins the team the following year, we'll be able to look at what he can do and see if he can go a little bit less on the Dame time and just be more, honestly, big shot. Be more Chauncey Billups in that idea of I'm going to direct traffic a little bit more. I'm going to put guys in positions to be successful. I'm not trying to win a scoring title. I'm trying to win a title.
Right, and waiting now with Scoot Henderson maybe or a Shaedon Sharpe mentoring those young guys, because with no Anthony Simons on this team anymore, they really have a ability to step up this year. I completely understand, and I think it's so wonderful, the family part of all of this as well, Bobby. But looking at this deal from the Blazers' point of view, how should they be looking at this?
I think, Malika, you look at it in two different ways here.
Okay.
I think the first way is that he's an extension of Chauncey Billups' coaching staff this upcoming year, certainly rehabbing from that Achilles injury. As Sham said, the likelihood is that he's not going to be playing. You've got all these young players, as Iman and UD has said, certainly Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe and Donovan Clingan. So for right now, it's the extension part as far as when he can get back healthy. And then the second part is then on the basketball court. How is the pairing with Drew Holiday work? How does that work next year? Most of this roster is intact for the 2026-27 season. Really, the only big free agent is Robert Williams. So you do bring back the nucleus of this roster. The other thing, too, Malika, when he left in 2023, that roster was not very good. When you look at it 2 years later, this is a significantly improved roster that he's walking into right now.
It wasn't a successful fit, really, with the Milwaukee Bucks, and in heartbreaking fashion, he tore his Achilles at the end of the season. But when you look at the basketball fit now, UD, for Damian Lillard with Portland, it's not necessarily one of those upper echelon contender teams, but there are ways in which this works. How do you see that?
Obviously, the mentorship the first season, but then the second season you come in and everybody knows how great Dame is, controlling the pace, handling the ball, scoring the basketball. But I also feel like he has the opportunity to play next to a great guard who can defend on both ends. Who can play both sides of the basketball court. When you look at what Milwaukee was able to do with Drew Holiday at the point guard, when they were 11th in offense, but they were #1 in defense. So when you look about Dame going back to Portland, yes, Dame is going to score a lot of points, but when you talk about a team who finished 5th in defense last year in the second half of the season, this is another opportunity to get one of the best two-way players in the league. You saw the impact that he had with Milwaukee winning the championship. You saw the impact that he had with Boston winning the championship. So when you put one of the best clutch players in the league next to one of the best two-way players in the league, you really have a good backcourt for these young guys to learn from.
Without a doubt. When he talks about a guy playing both sides of the ball, Drew Holiday has been talked about at that position, and not just the point guard position or the shooting guard position. He's been mentioned as a combo guard.
Right.
He can guard 1 through 3. Guys that can do that can make it to where you guys can switch on defense. Those type of things is what Damian Lillard has never had. Even though he's had C.J. McCollum, him and C.J. McCollum were not together to be a prominent defensive guarding team. Like they weren't supposed to be out there guarding things and cutting the head off the snake, so to speak. Drew Holiday has always prided himself on that, and he's also prided himself on being able to stand next to a superstar and say, this is where I fit in.
The Portland Trail Blazers, they finished the end of last season 23-18. So they put together a little run there, really defensive-minded run where they were able to stack together a couple of wins here. And now they get the most famous Trailblazer in the history of the organization back. The letter O is back in Portland.